Hey to all my allies, theys, and gays. Welcome back to the Lesbian Lounge. We have a special guest today, so buckle up your motherfucking seats and welcome, sister.
Hello.
This is Sid, guys, and I'm really excited to do this episode as I am getting ready to leave back home to Missouri, and so I just sprung it on her as that we gotta have an episode together while we're in person. So give us a little bit of who you are, and then we'll talk about what we're gonna do today.
Yes. So as you can guess, I live in California. I, for work, but for fun also, I am a yoga instructor, and then I coach at Orange Theory. Been teaching yoga for about 5 years now, but practicing for about 8. And then I've been a coach for 2.5 years.
So a couple things there. Really neat yoga instructor and an Orange Theory class. If you guys have never taken it, it is hard. She always kicks my ass in the last portion. I think you do that on purpose.
That's just me being me.
So yoga instructor. How long have you been a yoga instructor and where did that all start?
I started practicing just because a friend suggested it. And then during good old COVID, I don't know if you've heard of it.
I did. Yeah, it was a kicker.
I was like, oh, now is a good time to get my certification. And then it's just, gone from there. And then after that certification, I was like, I want something next. And then I became a personal trainer.
Yeah, you did a lot of things during that time. You didn't mess around.
Yep, that stimulus check. Spending it on things to make me better.
As I think it's really hard to do when we look at wanting to make ourselves better. We sometimes like to spend our money in places that don't actually serve us.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the time because I had a lot of time.
Yes, well, I'm proud of you because that was really cool to watch. And the neat thing too that we got to experience during the COVID is that you actually came on and taught some of my classes.
Oh yeah,
and I was a PE teacher.
Yeah, that's what's nice about being a coach is you can teach. I mean, not every coach can, but I can teach all levels. So. Yeah, it's cool.
And then Orange Theory, we've done it a few times together, so not my favorite, guys, but she is awesome at it. And the way that she coaches is very different from other coaches that I've been a part of their classes. And her way and style that I really enjoy is that she's super empowering, very encouraging, and always making sure that people feel seen and heard. And I think that's where we kind of combine our stuff together of having conversations of how important that is in fitness.
Definitely.
It's really scary when you walk into a room, but if you ever go to her class, you will feel seen and heard, I can guarantee it.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about today, she's a little heavy, and it's okay, because we do hard things here, but we're going to talk about what it was like for us to grow up together, because if you don't know anything about us, I was not the best version when we were kiddos, and it's because of a lot of our differences. So when we look at when we were kiddos, that's a good time. I really thought I was cool,
Really?
But I was kind of an asshole. And, I really was masking this whole identity. And when we look back to, I was the athlete growing up. And you tried to do athletics. You did water polo. You did running a little bit? Or was it just water polo?
Soccer, gymnastics,
okay,
volleyball.
Yeah, I always remember water polo the most. And I was always impressed by that because that's a sport that I could not do, treading water. But to kind of kick things off, so we grew up 2 different homes. We had the same dad, but different moms. And, growing up as a kiddo, I was always coming over every other Wednesday and then every other weekend as well. So what was that like for you, me coming over to the house? Was it a different environment when I was there?
Well, I knew that if Kaz was coming over, I could get what I wanted. Meaning, if I wanted to, I knew we would go and do something. We would go to the movies or, go, to a restaurant. So I knew that, if I wanted to get a candy, I could get it because Kaz was here.
Yeah, my favorite was, hey Kaz, go ahead and ask our father if we can get some ice cream.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10,
it was a yes. Yeah.
Yep.
But
it sure was.
If it was me by myself, it was different. It was also you never unfortunately knew like what version I would get of you, like if you would be happy to see me or if you would be cranky. So it was like I was always excited to see you, but I wouldn't know what I would get.
Yeah, it was being on edge, and you're like, okay, is she gonna be a bitch today or is she not?
Yeah.
How am I gonna ride this wave for 3 days? You know,
Yeah.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then you also had Wednesday. And I do know that there was times where I'm like, I don't want to go, but it had nothing to do with you. You know, it's just like the situation. I think any person that grew up in a setting of like you had 2 homes, it's a lot. You do have to change the environment, and like you said, one parent is different, and my mom is different from my dad.
And you said like your mom guilted you for the time that you spent with us. So it's like,
Yeah.
you probably couldn't have a good time and report that to her.
Yeah. There was always the conversations of like, oh, well, they made you do this and you did this. Like, it was always bringing up negatives. And, you know, Carolyn being my stepmom, I remember so many times my mom would say, yeah, like you had to call her mom. So like that was always in my head. And so I was so angry about that because what my mom fed me, but that was not even true. And I just, frustrating.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry about that, that was like your take and like being on edge, because that's not a fun home to be a part of.
Yeah, and as a kid, you're just like jealous of like your sibling of like, why did they get treated better? But then thankfully as a healed adult, you're like, oh, that had nothing to do with like me or her. That was her environment.
Yeah. You mentioned that we went to the movies a lot, which we did. What movie do you remember like that? Because we saw a lot of different movies. And my favorite was when we would bounce to 2 movies. We used to movie hop. And like, you can't do that now, I feel like.
Oh, that was with Grandma.
Okay.
Because Grandma likes to be saving money.
Best.
I do remember seeing Bridesmaids. Me, you, and Dad.
We were in Temecula, right?
No, we were like in like the desert for one of your soccer games. Yeah. Yeah, I remember just seeing Bridesmaids.
Okay, that's funny. I didn't remember that one. So that's crazy that you see. This is where my memory loss kind of kicks in, and like picking and choosing what memories maybe I want to like remember. That was
Also, we saw Lord of the Rings.
Did we really? I thought it was Van Helsing.
Oh no, it was Signs.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. And like, why is a parent bringing their child to see that at such a young age? Like, I remember being so scared, like I thought I would die because I was feeling so much fear.
Yeah.
So I remember that for trauma reasons.
Oh man, I don't remember that one. We always, so like dinners, we did always, you know, we did go out every so often, I feel like, but also we would do tacos. Was tacos ever really your favorite meal, or was that just because of me?
That was pizza. I
pizza.
did not like pizza.
I do remember that.
And every time we were together, it was pizza, and I resented it. And like, I still don't love pizza to this day. But I just remember like a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, the reason I probably don't like pizza is because I associated it with you and Dad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you know I don't think people realize that like the past stuff really does hurt when we're older until we actually take the time to understand what it is.
And it's never just about the pizza. You know, like there's
Memories.
always something. If someone has an emotional reaction to something that seems like stupid, it's nothing to do with that thing.
I agree. I totally get that. Okay, so the other thing too, when we look at our life when we're little kiddos and all the things, and being who I was basically all the way up until college, sporting events. How did you feel about going to soccer every motherfucking weekend?
I will say that now as an adult, like, I wish I could see you play.
Okay.
Like, I really wish that could be part of my life now. But as a kid, I hated it because it was in the morning. It was my weekend. And
I love
then
how you say my weekend.
Yeah, my weekend to stay inside. Yes. And then it was cold a lot of mornings. It was, early. And then she wasn't nice. So I'm like, why would I want to go to this?
Yeah.
And then I got to an age, like pretty young, but I got to an age where I was allowed to stay home alone. I was like, bye.
I'm sleeping
not going. Yeah, no way. So yeah, it wasn't fun. But now as an adult, like I wish I could see it because I heard you were really good.
Yeah, I was pretty good. And I think that, that was my escape for a lot of my stuff. And I do remember after games how if we lost, I was probably not speaking to you. And then like the added layer of like the two separate parents, it was like, have to be a certain way with this one, have to be a certain way with this one, don't talk about that. Like,
Yeah.
it was a lot. But then, you know, you add the other factor of I am still saying I like dudes.
Yeah.
So that we're masking how we're feeling, and then just a lot of anger and resentment for other things.
Right.
And I'm sure that there's other people that do struggle with like when you have two separate homes and having to play like two different roles and trying not to piss off the other parent. That's just exhausting.
Yeah.
And my mom was not fun about that one. I don't get what there is that we had to be that way, but it was not fun to be around. Now, when we look at our lives, would you say that they were pretty different then? Like, you obviously weren't involved in sports like I was, but now you are. So, our lives different. How was it? What was it like? Since it was we were opposite ends of each other. It was hard to connect. I feel like, for me personally.
Yeah, because I was always like painted as like the girly girl. And like you were painted as like the athlete,
The jock.
and I also feel like, you know, our dad put like your identity of an athlete like very known, and so it like constantly created this divide of like I remember thinking when I was young that because I didn't know what I wanted to do right away, then I must not be good at anything. And because Kaz is naturally good at soccer, then I'm not good at anything. But it's also like, well, you were taught, like you were trained, like they took time to teach you something.
Yeah.
No one took time to teach me something.
And you know what's crazy? Like, he did spend a lot of money on me going to like certain events for training before going to college.
Right.
And I'm grateful of all that stuff, but at the same time, it was really exhausting. Like, I think that was why I closed a lot of people off when I failed my fitness tests and I didn't do well. It was just like a letdown of like, oh, we did all this stuff, we paid all this money, you should excel.
Right. Yeah, because you're being held up to a standard, you know. And to be fair, my mother did put me in any activity and sport that I was interested. Even if I wasn't good, I didn't have someone to train me. The moment I said I want to try something, she's like, "Here you go."
Yeah,
Here
and
go.
you
Try
did.
it.
You did try a lot of things. Art or like.
I did take some drawing classes. I took guitar lessons. Like,
Okay, yeah, I do remember that. I remember the guitar.
I tried a bunch of stuff, but like there wasn't. I think because something came so naturally to you, I kept thinking like it should come naturally to me.
Yeah.
So like I just gave up on myself like quickly with stuff.
You kind of bring up this is not something that we talked about going into this episode, but you bring up a point that kind of makes me think of my brother. And it was always like he was always put down below me because he was talented in his sports, but he never put forth the effort. So he was always put, like when he was in schools, compared to me, they're like, well, why aren't you as good and why aren't you excelling? Would you say that's the same for you? You kind of weren't able to have this opportunity to like shine bright because all the focus really was on my athletics. And that's not right. That wasn't by choice. And if I could change it and realize that I did these things, I could have been a little bit different with you and been more caring and supportive.
Yeah, but I mean, like, given your circumstances, like, that'd be kind of crazy for your young self to even, like, realize that. So, yeah, it like I said, it was just, like, all the attention was on you, but looking back at it, I'm like, oh, makes sense, you know?
Yeah, we did. There was a lot. I mean, it was all riding on, like, go to school, go to school, go to school. It was never, like, go get a job and, like, learn all these other things. It was always athletics.
Yeah.
It was a lot. And I think that pressure, it weighed heavy because I had to do good. Now, looking in our middle school and high school days, there's so many things that come up for me that really were not the greatest times, but you know, I brought dudes to the house, and like when you saw that, you're like, bitch, you are not into dudes. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I didn't I had like feelings about you, but I don't.
You didn't know for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because at that time, you know, Kaz and I are 2 years apart, so it was like I was having my own friend groups and my own life going on that I didn't really like think like, oh, is she gay?
Yeah.
You know?
And you went to a different school, so we weren't even close to going to high schools together. Like my brother and I did. You were in another city, which was way far, and then I was in another city.
Yeah, so I didn't really like know your life, but I do remember like Kaz bringing a guy around, and it was like the first guy like to bring around, and I remember like me talking to him more.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously not like flirting with him, but
No.
like me being like, hi, like blah blah blah, and like Kaz just kind of like sitting there like watching the TV with sports on the entire time.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Because, Carolyn was like, yeah, when I saw you with this boy that you brought, I think it was Super Bowl, and we were at Graziano's that was around, I said that was my boyfriend, but like, I didn't look at him the way that I do with Holly.
Yeah.
And I remember Carolyn saying that to me. I was like, you are absolutely right, but I was going to bring this person around because I'm saying I like dudes to be able to fit in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you're at that age, you're just exploring like feelings. Like you're not realizing like, oh, like I'm actually like wanting to grow connection. It's just more about like the attraction.
Definitely. And it was, those days were fun. Mm-hmm. You had seen that, and then I've also brought, like, I had this friend, a girl, and there was a lot of like issues in college with it. But did you ever think that I was dating that individual of like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit more sense that maybe my sister is gay, but she's just not really coming out of the closet?
Yeah. Like I think when I was in high school, like I started to kind of like see that more. And then when you got really close with this person, that was the first like friendship that I've ever seen you invested in. And I was like, and then I knew in college how much time like you two were like or actually you two to be just friends had way too much drama.
That is so true. That is so true.
Like you would have drama that like a normal boyfriend and girlfriend would in high school. It was like, okay, like that's a kind of a big reaction to your friend hanging out with someone of the opposite sex. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. And it was a lot, and it was very toxic in college, where it became a problem where coaches were actually talking to me about it, which was crazy. That was not my intent for all that to go down. Coaches be involved in my like quote unquote relationship that was somewhat hidden. But I'm curious, like, do you think now we could have had that conversation? Because this is where I feel LGBTQ people struggle to like be able to talk to somebody, and maybe my fear at the time was if I say it, no one's going to love me for who I am. Do you think you could have had that conversation and been like, hey, Kaz, like, you can tell me if you are?
I just like, I don't know, because you were like
closed off.
Yeah, you just never know what you got. I think like I was always surprised that I could ask you questions about your feelings when it was just us, and that you would respond. But I don't know. I think that because also like a friend recently told me that now it's easier to come out because there's so many like words for it. There's like titles and like, like labels for it, so people can identify it. But it's like at that age, I'm like, you're either like you're gay, you're bi, or you're straight. That's it. There's no spectrum. Yeah. So how would I even know how to go about that?
There really is a lot of labels, and I think that's what makes it so hard for straight people to understand, like, the they them has come into play. And if I'm being completely honest, when that came around, I didn't really understand it, nor was I like, yes, like I support that. I really struggle with it, only because growing up we're taught in classrooms. But then I got to a certain point when I got more confident in myself. I'm like, if that person needs to be called they them, then we respect that.
Yeah, also, who fucking cares?
Exactly.
Like,
and I don't know why I got so bent out of shape, but that's my opinion, guys.
Yeah, it's something new at the time,
Yeah.
Like,
and I remember people, like, close friends or, like, family were asking that. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm sorry that there's so many things and that someone wants to be called this or that. Respect what they want.
Yeah.
Because it's not like we're making straight people, we're questioning them and when they're saying X, Y, and Z.
Right. It's just like when someone doesn't like their first name, so they go by their middle name.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
I don't think I could change that. I do like, I don't know, Catherine Kate Hazel. It used to be Catherine Kate James. What's yours?
What do you mean, what's mine?
I'm saying, like, for the people to know.
Oh.
I'm like, I know yours. Damn.
Sydney Ray Diaz, but I really like my name.
Yeah. It's got a nice little ring to it.
Yeah.
Love that. When I was in college, I think things started to, like the freshman year was really, really hard. I'm like, a lot of states away. I could be my own person. I don't have to do certain things in my households anymore that I felt like I needed to in order to like be loved. I was always cleaning. I was always taking care of food, whatever it was for my siblings and that wasn't your house, obviously. But, I grew up really fast. And when I got to college, I was like, hell yeah, I got a little bit more freedom. I don't have to be in these toxic things. When I was a freshman, we still weren't close. Do you think that was still because I was not out yet?
You were still mean.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah, you. I mean, we didn't really connect until like maybe like when our parents officially like split.
Yeah.
But you were still like, even when you're with Holly, you were still mean.
Yeah, I think there was. I remember like a couple incidents that we had in fights and stuff, and that's when you were dating somebody at the time too. And there was just like a lot of anger, and I was with Holly, and I think over the years, over time, I started to get a little bit softer and not as harsh and mean. But I think the murr is really loud over there, guys.
We have a Frenchie, so you'll hear snorts.
The whole like persona that I had, I feel like it didn't really change until I stopped drinking.
Wow. Yeah.
And getting into therapy, but the drinking was a huge problem. And I don't even think you noticed it. Maybe you did when we were together when I came back.
I had no idea.
I think that didn't help because I was still masking what I was feeling.
Yeah.
And not actually talking about it. And one thing I do admire about you is that you are a very good communicator. You would think she is older because the way that she expresses herself and the way she holds herself is just so mature. And I do have family back home, like Holly and other people that were like, dude, your sister, is she the older one? You've worked on yourself. So I think that was like, what the hell? What am I doing wrong over here?
And I've always been a yapper.
Yeah, you might as well get the professional yapper hat on today if we had it. But, I do really admire that. And yeah, I was angry. Holly and I met junior year of college, which would have been 2016. And there's just so much anger and resentment. But again, nothing to do with you. It's just I was not confident in myself. I didn't love myself, even though I was saying I was gay. There was so many things. And one of the layers was like, I was still hearing from people the things I didn't want to hear as a kid, like, oh, you're a lesbian, oh, you're a dyke, the triggers for me.
Yeah.
And still not understanding why I was so angry, but then getting into therapy, talking about it, and I do remember calling you. I was on my way to school when I was a teacher. That life. And it was a We Can Do Hard Things podcast. I was listening to it, and I was like, I think it was a boundaries episode, now that I practice boundaries. I called you and we started chatting about it. And I feel like that was the moment that our relationship started to change. Also, our parents were separated at this point. And then there was just more conversations. And then I started calling you almost every day, if not every week. And
I will say, so our parents have recently like split. And I remember telling my mom, I'm like, I hadn't heard from Kaz, like we weren't like really talking, like not that we were angry or a fight had happened, I just hadn't spoken in a while. And I literally told Mom, I was like, I don't know, I feel like Kaz is going to be distant and we're just not really going to like hear from her anymore. And literally maybe like 2 weeks later, she calls me and she goes, have you ever heard of We Can Do Hard Things? And that book, because it's a book and then a podcast, that book changed my life. Like it really, because I was going through a gnarly breakup, and that book just felt like you can be a fearless woman and you can do all these great things. And the author's wife is a professional soccer player.
The soccer.
Yeah, Abby Wambach. So it was like this, like all these worlds coming together. And I remember when you asked me about the podcast, I'm like, have you read the book? And I bought her the book like right away.
Yeah, I remember it coming in.
That is what just like propelled like the relationship. So Glennon and Abby, if you're listening to this, thank you.
Thank you so much for letting us do hard things together.
And her book is called Untamed, so I would highly recommend that.
It is so good. Yeah, no, I love that podcast. I love the book. They also have a new one out. I don't know if you saw that one. It's basically like life lessons and taking everybody's things and putting it together, I believe.
Yes, and listening to straight and lesbian perspectives.
I do love their perspectives for sure. So good. Okay, so now when all of that starts to kind of unravel and this relationship starts to blossom, I didn't know where it was going, but I also really did like that our relationship was stronger. And I'm just like thinking to myself more and more, I'm like, if I would have been less angry and all the things and like not letting our father kind of get in the way, because I feel like that was like in the way for me more and more that I look at it being today, because I just don't think it was like the way things were, it didn't ever seem healthy. You know, some of the stuff that I hear and, you know, it's a lot. And I wish I could have changed it, but what we get to change now is how I interact with you and support you and hear you instead of like jumping on you and arguing with you like I used to be. And I love where it's at.
Yeah, same. And I remember one time you like called me, like I noticed Kaz calling me more and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, I'm not used to this, because also Kaz would go in moments where she would be really nice to me, like over text. And then the moment we were actually together in person, you would be really mean.
Yeah, and were they at nighttime?
I don't know.
Because if they were at night, this is probably when I'd been drinking.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was more just like I would get a nice version of you that would leave me hopeful. And then I would see her in person with my parents, and that's when she would get mean. So then I learned to just like, okay, not put any expectations into our relationship. And then it was like after the parents had separated that you would call me often. And you actually wanted to learn about me. And I just remember telling my therapist, like, this is weird. Like, I don't know what to trust. And then you left me a voicemail and you were like crying and apologizing for how you treated me. And I was like, oh, wow, like this is different.
Yeah. And I think the other thing too is that our parents are separated. So being a big sister and like knowing what it was like when, you know, Brian and Sarah had split at one point and always having to be the adult, I just felt like it was an opportunity for me to like really truly be there for you when I wasn't.
Yeah.
And now, you know, Holly's in the picture and I see how much she's so about family, and I love that about her because she's so connected, and her and her sister have a great relationship. I'm like, why can't I have that? And it has to be me taking ownership for the way that I was. Because I was an asshole and I was not the things I am today, but change is possible when you actually look yourself in the mirror. And it was uncomfortable, like making that phone call and a couple other things that I've done. I'm like, you know?
Yeah, and I went through life accepting that I would just not have a sister. Like that's just what it was, you know? And it's like better to protect yourself than get disappointed. So to have her reach out as like an adult was like, and this is after, you know, like my dad doing what he's done, my ex doing what he's done. So you get to a point where you're like, no, I don't want to entertain someone who's like iffy about me, even if they're family, you know?
Yeah, you get to set that boundary.
Absolutely. And so then for you to come around, it just felt like, oh, so what it took for us to get to know each other better was a huge change happening in our lives. Yeah. Didn't see that on the bingo card.
I did not either. But like I said, I'm glad where it's going and that we get to be here today and hopefully empower others that maybe you do struggle with your sibling because of the things that you've gone through. But like, you really have to be the one to take the ownership and be like, you know what, I was the fucking problem and I can't blame somebody else or say it's them when really it's you.
And even if you grew up in the same household, you still grew up differently. Like same parents, same household, you still both grew up differently. So, you know, like just because you weren't close to a sibling for a very long amount of time doesn't mean you can't rekindle as adults, but also you may never have a relationship with your sibling.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I haven't talked to my brother since we got married, so not we, but Holly and I.
Yes.
To be clear.
Guess what?
Yeah. Okay, when we this is where I really love that, like, you know, I think our relationship got better. What was your take on meeting Holly? Like, you're like, I don't know about her. I like her. I love that she's bringing Kaz around and being softer. Like, when was the first time you met Holly?
I think it's when you guys came out to visit and we had the party that had Jello shots.
Oh my God, yeah. I forgot that was a coming out party.
Yeah, but also, like, so I'm a girl's girl. Like, I, like, just love hanging out with girls and chatting away, you know, and so with Holly, it just felt really easy.
Yep.
So I don't really remember, like, the first time meeting her. I just felt more of, like, about fucking time that Kaz comes out and is, like, happy. Because, like, you could just see it by talking to her. So I wanted it to be known that, like, Holly, like, come here. You're gonna love us, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, Holly is literally the easiest person to talk to. She can talk to the wall to the right of her, the left of her, and be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was a interesting party, the coming out party. Like, we had the Jello shots. So, like, Snoop was still around, and Murr was Murr with us in the picture yet?
Yeah, Snoop, our dog, by the way, not, like, actually Snoop Dogg.
Just because we're from California doesn't mean we get to see that person.
Yeah.
Okay, that was that time, and then, you know, we get engaged in 2018, and then I asked you to be maid of honor. Did you see that coming?
No. Well, when you told us you were going to propose, I don't know if you remember, but the first thing I said was, what the fuck?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, we got to go back to this, because why was it what the fuck? Because you knew that I never wanted to get married due to, like, all of the things from
I did feel like it was quick. Like, you know, it was, like, the first relationship she had been in, the first, like, woman. So I didn't see it coming. Like, I thought there'd be more time, like, spent with her. Yeah. You know? But, I mean, how long was it?
We were together, like, maybe 9 months, a year almost.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because then we stayed engaged. Yeah. We got together in 2016. And then she was at senior night for soccer, graduation. So that was 2016. And then, oh, yeah, that was pretty quick.
So, because Christmas,
you got... Not even, yeah, that's right. Because then I had asked her mom, and her mom was not the greatest about that one. She goes, well, I don't know. I was like, I'm thinking in my head, I'm still going to ask her.
Yeah, so I had a fair reaction. You did. That's when you don't remember. I just remember, I think a part of me was jealous too, because I wanted that for myself and it wasn't happening. But also, like, you were young too. So it just felt like, huh? Yeah. You know? It was a shock.
Yeah, I think it was for a lot of people, because I remember telling, like, a friend from college that I would be, like, she's like, oh, so Holly the one? I was like, girl, this is just, like, a fling. I'm going to go back to California, and I'm moving on.
Yeah, I thought you would never get married, and I also thought I would get married before you.
Yeah,
so,
same.
Like, it just... And your girl is single as a Pringle, so... And and I'm like, oh, I'm actually, like, really happy I'm not in that, like, seat. So, you know, and I'm happy that you're in your seat, so... It's just funny how that works out.
It is, and she's made me a better person. And challenges me every day, as you know that. But we love the queen. So you were at the wedding, and my favorite thing about you said for that wedding, you're like, I'm so stressed, like, leading up to the speech and everything, and then after you're done with the speech, you just get annihilated.
Yeah, that was the most drunk I ever was. There was, like, a really...
someone goes, your sister's in the bathroom. And I was like, what?
Yeah, that was rough.
Yeah, it was.
But that was a good
But you gave a damn good speech.
I did, yeah. I will say I'm a good writer. And kudos. So I really took my time, like, writing that and including, like, a story to it.
No, you did. We do have the recording of it, and we still watch it.
Oh, nice.
But I think if I remember correctly, and Christy, if you hear this, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Christy was like, well, how am I supposed to follow up after that?
Yeah. I was happy with mine.
Right. Well, the days of that, so now you have a sister-in-law, and we've been together 10 years. Isn't that crazy? 10 years.
That's wild.
I still can't believe it. But now that we are where we are at, do you wish that we were in California ever more, or you know, if, like, we lived here? Because, like, sometimes I imagine, like, what it would be like for us to live in California, and I'm like, I don't think we could.
Yeah, I think that'd be it is funny to me, like, you know, I will bring up things that I've done in California, and you don't necessarily, like, know where those things are. And it, like, clicks to me of, like, oh, you didn't spend as much time out here as an adult the way that I have, because, you know, I've been here my whole life. But yeah, I do wish I, saw you more, and Missouri still feels very random. It's a very, like, when I tell people my sister lives in Missouri, they tend to remember that. They're like, Missouri? And I'm like,
You did go on a float trip.
Yes.
It's not your thing. That's okay.
Yeah, that was very different.
Yeah, I remember it's raining and you're like, it's raining, and then you didn't help us fix the fucking tent.
Oh, that thing was flooded.
We had the top all like being tied
Also,
down.
you were very scary at that time. You had gotten your DUI.
Yes, and we can talk about that, guys.
Yeah, she was very, like...
That's when the drinking was still heavy.
Yeah, that was a very hard trip because I went there to escape my dad. And then I got to you and I was like, oh, fuck, I'm with him again. Like, yeah, so...
Not my fondest time.
I need some better Missouri experiences.
But, like, that time frame that you're talking about was when I was not okay.
Yeah. That was, like, literally right before the whole, like, change kicked in.
Yep. I mean, I think we were trying to get along, but I was not happy with my situation in my job and just felt like I could never be me. And until I finally had left education, but like, the last 2-3 years now, I feel like I've started to change. So my question to you, do you think people can truly change? I mean, it's kind of a hard question because we do have some people in our life who are like, really?
Yeah, I would say you're probably one of the only people like I've witnessed that like has the possibility to change. Like you're still you in so many ways, but that is just personality. That is not like a trauma, response. But are people capable of change? Yes, but can you hope to see it? Not really. Like it's
you can't
very
bet
hard.
on it.
But Kaz was willing to like look at her own issues and like deal with it. That makes the difference. There's some people that they like the idea of change. They like, reading a line in a book that makes them feel good. They like hearing the podcast that makes them feel good. But then it doesn't come down until the moments when you're angry, when you're sad. That's when it really is tested. And there's plenty of people that will make you believe that they're capable of change because they're really good at sorries, but they're not good at like actions. Yes. And that was where Kaz was different. But for most everybody else, I will say when someone shows you who they are, believe them.
Yeah.
I
think you make 2 points that I think it's kind of like with fitness. You talk about the reading a book. You talk about hearing a podcast. Those things make you feel good. It's that like dopamine release.
Right.
And everything feels good and like, oh, I'm going to make a change. But when it actually comes down to it, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to deal with that. So we throw in the towel. Yeah. Or we grab the bottle. Right. Or we grab the food. And it's so much easier to stay stuck, but that's also part of the thing with our brain. You have not decided to train that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why the way I coach people now, and you probably heard it 1,000 times in all my content, but it truly starts with you rewiring your brain. You taking the time to realize that this is what happened, this is what you need to do, and you have to do it every single day.
Right.
And it's uncomfortable as shit.
And like acknowledging like the symptoms when they come up. Like for me, like my throat will tighten, and then I'm like, okay, I'll just breathe. Just breathe for a second, and it fills your dopamine when you just go to the reaction that you're used to.
Yeah, I think it's... I did not like that feeling, and the part of the reason why I wanted to change is a couple things. I did not want to hurt people I love, people like you, and I didn't want to not have anybody in my circle that I loved that were like, fuck you, bitch, you're an asshole, I don't want to deal with you. Or even like Holly, when she was like, if you don't stop drinking the way that you do, we're not going to be together. So I had a decision to make, and I'm like, the only person that can make the change happen is me. Everybody else can talk about it, but I have to be willing to look myself in the mirror.
Yep.
So the ones that say they want to, they're listening to this podcast, someone can tell you all the things, but if you don't want to actually do the actions, stay where you're at.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like... I'd rather someone just admit they're an asshole and stay that way. Like at least be true to yourself. If being an asshole is what you are, then stay that way. Like stop trying to
It's
just commit.
It's exhausting. The ongoing cycle. 2 more questions for you. Rapid fire.
Okay.
What does it mean to be an ally to you?
Seeking to understand.
Okay.
you know, like even if it doesn't make sense for you, it's still validating that it doesn't have to happen to you for it to make sense. You just have to say like, wow, I had no idea. I'm sorry you went through that.
My favorite thing that people say is, I understand, I get it.
Like,
You can't get
right.
what we go through.
Yeah.
And the other thing that people say is like, you know, you chose that life. Do you really think I would choose to be humiliated, rejected, discriminated? No.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, I appreciate that you want to make us feel validated, and we need more allies. And I think a lot of people just, they're so closed off. But the other piece, too, that sometimes we don't even consider is, like, how they were raised.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
And you were not raised in a home that was about hate.
Yeah. Yeah. I was like, I mean, even with my circumstances, I was still taught to not think differently of someone because they're gay. It was just like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Like,
And I'm not the only gay person in our family.
yeah. Bunch of gays in there.
We love old Tyson and Patricia. Okay. Our last question. What's it like to have a sister that's queer?
It's definitely a different perspective. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I mean, looking back, it's been my life, my whole life. You know?
I've always
like,
known you were gay.
It's not like you tried to be girly or anything.
Oh my God,
so,
that's not the thing.
but yeah, I mean, it's fun. And like, you know, when I talk to people about you, like, I never forget to mention that you have a wife, you know, and that the things you're passionate about and your experiences working at schools, like, it's something that I think like everybody knows about me, that my sister's gay.
Yeah, when people ask you, do you have a sister, do you say, yeah, my sister and she's gay, or you just say, yeah, I have a sister?
It just depends on the context of
okay.
like what's coming up. But if
Yeah.
there's an opportunity to like slide in that like human, you know, her and her wife, like
Right.
I'll always do that.
Because then it also gives you an idea of what that person is like when they,
Yeah.
like, how they respond. You're like, I did not know that.
Right.
And then if I were to go around those people, then I'm already like, okay, I gotta walk on eggshells today.
I did have someone at Orange Theory that was talking about their daughter living in Italy and that she's married, and I was like, oh, what, you know, is her husband from there? And they're like, oh yeah, her wife. And I'm like, oh, I can't believe I made a judgment like that. Like, how dare I? And it was like, for me to have a gay sister and I made a judgment instead of saying their partner, you know?
It's so easy to do, and it's even like at hospitals, like when you know Holly had her stuff when we were early on, and constantly going in there like, well, you know, do you have where's your husband? And she's like, this is my wife.
Yeah,
It's one of those things where I think it's normal, so kind of give yourself some grace there. And
right, and helps create the awareness too, like it can happen to me too, you know.
Right. Well, I love that we had these conversations and that we have a real relationship with each other. It's not just like a foo-foo one or anything like that where like we're going through the motions. I do think that people that might be searching to have a relationship with somebody that may have gone through some shit, you can have that relationship, but it's how you want to go about it and taking those action steps. Do you have any words of empowerment or advice for our queer people and allies out there that might be listening to us today?
You have nothing to lose by authentically showing up as yourself.
That.
And also sometimes being yourself is an asshole, and some people should probably change themselves a bit. But at the end of the day, like, if like speaking your truth changes the people in your life, like who are in your life and your environment, then that was an environment that did not serve you. So what do you have to lose by just fully presenting yourself as you? And that goes whether you're like dating, within family, like just put it all out there. Because at the end of the day, we're all on a floating rock and we're all going to die anyways.
Are you and Holly the same person? Because I feel like she says that a lot now.
Yeah, nothing is real and nothing matters.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. I really do appreciate you taking the time and being in the hot seat because, I mean, it's a hard conversation and kind of like reliving our past, and sometimes we don't want to relive that, but I really do appreciate you being on the Lesbian Lounge.
Yes.
And we always like to ask our listeners, our viewers, if you like what you hear and you're being empowered and you're doing the damn thing now, go ahead and subscribe to the Lesbian Lounge, and then also share it with somebody that could use some love, some support, some guidance, because we're here to empower you, to get you moving in the right direction, either if it's with Sid or somebody else like my wifey that will be back with us next week. We want you to share the damn podcast. Don't be scared.
Yes.
So let's grow together, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.